All right, it's all yours, Sandra.
All right. Well, thank you. And I'm always excited to teach about Ho'oponopono. Um, so I've been practicing Ho'oponopono for many years, and I had forgotten to tell Mira this, but I'm a certified practitioner with the Global Sciences Foundation with Joe Vitale and Dr. E. Haleakala Hulin. And Joe Vitale wrote a book called Zero Limits, which I recommend if you're interested in learning more about Ho'oponopono. So I'm going to start with a very brief telling of how Dr. E. Haleakala Hulin cleared out a ward of the criminally insane at the Kaneohe Mental Institution in Hawaii. So the ward for the criminally insane was a very scary place. And there was a lot of turnover of staff and psychiatrists and psychologists, and the patients there were very scary men who oftentimes had to be chained and to their beds and stuff like that. Plants wouldn't grow in the ward, paint wouldn't stick to the wall. I mean, it was weird. It was very strange. So then Dr. Hulin was hired, and when he arrived, he did not visit the patients. He did not offer therapy. What he did was go through their files and do haleakala, or ho'oponopono, excuse me. And so what is ho'oponopono? Has anybody here heard of ho'oponopono? Okay, Debbie, okay. So basically, ho'oponopono uses 4 phrases. And those 4 phrases are, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. So we're going to break these phrases down in just a few moments. So in 3 years' time, he would do ho'oponopono on the patients there in that ward. And after 3 years, all of them except 2 had been released back into public life. Healed, of course. And so the question is, wow, how did that happen? And so, but this is an indication of how powerful ho'opono is. So I'm going to refer to my notes here. So the concept is that when anything comes to your attention that irritates you in any way, you do ho'oponopono. And so really when you think about it, if you take ho'oponopono seriously, the practice, you would be saying the phrases like almost constantly, right? There's always an irritation that comes up. So whenever anything presents itself to you, that's your opportunity to do ho'oponopono. And you can be watching the news on television and get upset, and that's your cue to do the practice. And if you are doing it consistently, then you will actually be taken to 0 point. So I'm going to be talking about what that is. Yesterday, I made an admission to all y'all that ever since Trump has been elected in 2016, that I've done ho'oponopono to try to change my thinking about him. But why do you think that I have not changed my attitude towards him. Any guesses?
Because you're still making it about him.
Yep. And there's another reason too. It's because I haven't been consistent in my practice. So I do it sporadically. And I felt I needed to make that clarification because Ho'oponopono is very, very powerful when you're consistent. And that would be true of any practice, right? So it's my wake-up call to, whoa, be consistent every time that I feel irritated, not just sometimes. So Dr. Hugh Lin was coming from a place of pure love when he did his practice with the patients. And in a book called Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins, he says that one person in the state of love consciousness can powerfully affect 750,000 people in lower vibrational consciousness. So when you and I are consistently in love, we can raise the vibration of 750,000 people who are in hate or fear, those lower vibrations. Isn't that amazing? And so when you think about that, if you believe the truth of that, you can see why Dr. Hugh Lin could change the consciousness of, a few men in this ward at the mental hospital. And when you consider also that we are all one, we are a collective consciousness, right? And because we are one, that is how we can also affect each other energetically. So the phrases, I want to just go through the phrases and what they mean, because just to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you, it's like, so what? So what we're really saying is, when you say, I'm sorry, you are saying, I'm sorry for any beliefs or thoughts, words, deeds, emotions that I am contributing to a situation that is anything less than love. So I'm going to say that again. I'm sorry for any beliefs that I have, any thoughts, any words, any actions I take, any feelings I have that contribute to any situation that is anything less than love. And that would be unconscious or conscious. Please forgive me. And thank you for showing me where in my consciousness I need to do some clearing. And I love you for showing this to me. And I love you because we are one. So any questions about that? Okay. So that is what Dr. Hugh Lin did. He would look at the files and look at what the crimes were of each of his patients. And then he would say, I'm sorry. So let's take a moment and and think of what kinds of crimes the criminally insane might have committed. So go ahead, name some.
Murder.
Murder? Yeah. What else?
Rape.
Yeah. What else?
Theft.
Robbery.
Assault
Yeah.
and battery.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just writing down your answers. So when you might wonder why in the world he would then go say, clear his consciousness of murder and rape and assault and battery and theft, right? I mean, so if you were Dr. Hugh Lynn and you were reading the files on this, could you go in and clear your own consciousness of these kinds of crimes? So, you might be saying, I've never raped anybody. I've never assaulted or battered anybody, that sort of thing, right? But let's look at that. Let's unpack that. So part of Ho'oponopono is taking responsibility for these kinds of things that are happening in the world. The world. And so you might be saying, how am I responsible for that? So let's just take a moment and consider how you might be responsible and say, I am sorry for murdering someone. What in my consciousness, what in my belief system, my thoughts, my words, whatever actions I may have taken, consciously or unconsciously, my feelings, how have I contributed to a situation that is less than love in the case of murder?
Did you want us to chime in?
I do.
Well, I think it goes back to what Mira has taught us, is that we embody everything good and bad within us. And to me, that's why he would say he was sorry, because we are capable of these horrendous things. Everyone is, whether or not you do.
Anybody disagree?
I think we froze.